Countdown.
I got the countdown. It ended.
All right. Awesome. Let's get it going. Welcome to Collector's Hideout. Tonight, we're going to be discussing wrestling. It's not something we normally discuss on the podcast, just simply because it's still a new podcast and we just haven't gotten around to it yet. But that's what we're doing tonight. Tonight, I am joined by some dear friends of mine and somebody else. We are we got here tonight. We have Mr. Psycho. How's it going, man? No, nothing. Cool. All right. Some Cuban guy. How you doing, brother?
I'm here. I can hear you.
Also, I'm glad you can hear. I
Yeah.
guess it's gonna be a quick show with Psycho shut the fuck up. Apparently.
No, my wife opened up the AirPod Maxes and it took my sound away while she was trying to watch something, so I had to change that around real quick.
Well, okay. We'll go back to how you doing, Mr. Psycho.
I'm doing well. I'm super excited about this podcast. Thanks for having me.
Oh man! And tonight, for the first time, I don't know if he'll ever be on again. We'll see how it goes. But we have Che, who's apparently the Haitian one, versus his normal name of Little Haiti. Not,
There are
not
multiple
sure
shades.
what brought
We do
that
what we
change
can.
upon.
Hey,
How's it
we were
going,
lucky.
Che?
He could have wrote his name as Jay.
I considered it.
I would have kicked you out of the chat.
Thankful, man. I'm just trying to simplify it for the
If
folks.
you said Jay,
We should
I
just
would be
call him
like,
Jay for the rest of
delete.
the podcast.
3 guys tonight.
Oh man,
Oh man, so
it's actually pretty great.
we were trying to figure out where we're gonna go with this podcast. It's in true fashion, like drinks and toys. We waited like the last minute to decide what our actual official topic was gonna be, and I think we've come
Not for lack of trying. I'll point that out. We
trying
did try to nail down the topics, but
a little bit.
many topics were put forth. So
But people were working, so it couldn't go fast, right? Doesn't matter. So I think we've decided on we're going to do a couple Mount Rushmores. Is that what we're doing? That's what we agreed.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
So correct me if I'm wrong. We're going to first do a personal enjoyment versus like just who's the best wrestlers. We're doing like who you personally enjoyed the most. Is that what we're doing, or are we going to go with technicality?
No,
No,
I think
we can do enjoyment first. Yeah.
I think just like overall, like who would we put our top 4?
Sounds good. And then we are also doing teams and factions, correct?
Yep.
indeed.
All right. Now, I'm not sure if, since this wasn't fully settled until about 5 minutes ago, are you guys ready, or do you have to think about some of this first?
No,
good to go.
I'm good. I have my list. So.
Okay, cool. List is there. We're ready to go. So we're going to start with the newest guest, Che. Man, we got to change that shit.
Word.
Che, you were first.
All right. Thanks for having me. Good to be here. Rushmore in wrestling is it's a fun, difficult one, but I'm gonna start with the dearly departed Eddie Guerrero.
Okay.
I actually started off with WCW, so I caught a little bit of Eddie in WCW, then caught up with him when I started switching over to WWF, whatever. Eddie's,
I had a hard time with that too.
yeah.
We don't have to get the F out on our podcast.
Hey. Yeah, Eddie.
No, we dropped the fucks here.
Eddie's in-ring work, it goes without saying. He's one of the best technicians, and kayfabe aside, his knowledge of how to work the crowd and work his opponent. You hear all these stories about people working with Eddie and him feeling out the crowd to get the best result, the best reactions, going off script, everything. Good times.
So,
Plus, Eddie was fucking hilarious.
all right. So, I didn't watch WCW growing up. So, I wasn't familiar with Eddie until he came to WWE. So, I only really know him as the lie, cheating, and stealing Eddie Guerrero. So, I've never seen anything that'd be like, oh, he's such a technician. Like, he's a great, like, he was a great performer, but I never saw him to be like this amazing wrestler that people do claim he is. He must be because a lot of people do claim that. I've just never seen it. I know hey, look, the ref's not looking. I'm gonna smack myself with the chair and lay down and win the match. That's the Eddie I know. So
Yeah, there was a fair amount of that in WWE, and
what's
it
going on?
was fun to watch. But then you do have the drag him out fights that he had, the Iron Man stuff like that. Eddie put his work in, and
So
of
I'll
course,
tell you this.
the lying, cheating, stealing was just chef's kiss.
So when I was originally pitching this idea of a cast of what we can do, and I was telling Psycho that Mr. Cuban guy over here mentioned doing the Mount Rushmore. Psycho had a guess as to what your Mount Rushmore would be, and he was already wrong. I enjoy that.
I was.
I'll wait till I'm done with the Rushmore to ask him what he thought it was, because he has known me the longest. So I think we'll give him a break on that. But
so I have a feeling that the rest of it he'll be right, but he proves it wrong right now, so we're good.
Indeed. And number 2.
Whoa. No, you got one done. Move on to somebody else and we go around. Round table.
So before we go on, I just want to make sure, Che, you're doing your favorite right now, not technicians, or were you doing technicians? Because you were talking a lot about technicians, but we said we were going to start with favorites. So I was just trying to figure.
Oh no, I'm doing favorite.
Okay, just making sure.
He just happens to be a really good technician at the same time.
Understood.
Hey Che, did he take the technician pledge? No. Okay.
Let me call Tech and double check.
All right, just curious.
Select call Kansas City.
Hey, what's going on, Steven?
What's up, Steven?
Okay. So next would be, in order of appearances, Mr. Cuban guy, or some Cuban guy.
All right, cool. So, first off, that first pick actually was shocked. I didn't think Che was going to say Eddie outright. That's a good one. I think mine is also going to shock quite a few people. But on my personal Mount Rushmore,
had to guess what yours are going to be too.
so I'll start. So my first one that I'm going to put on mine is Scott Hall. So
God damn it.
So yeah, Scott Hall, man, So I'm guessing you guessed that one right? Was that
I told Chris, I said because we did what I thought yours were going to be before Che's. I said I guarantee you the first person Jose picks is Scott Hall.
Yeah.
And Chris is like, no way, and I'm like, it's going to be Scott Hall.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess it's not surprising. I'm actually honestly when you go through and I watch other podcasts and people name their Mount Rushmores, you don't really hear Scott Hall very much, but his influence on wrestling is it can't be understated. I mean, without him, the NWO never would have gotten started. He was the first one to show up on WCW television, but even before that, he was, in my eyes, the first real wrestler to make cheering for the bad guy cool. And I think without him, you wouldn't see all these other wrestlers that we see in the future that are these tween wrestlers or the in-betweens, between being a good guy and a bad guy. I think he was incredibly influential in making that happen. On top of him just being an awesome wrestler, I don't think we're gonna do a best matches Mount Rushmore, but if I did, that match between him and Shawn Michaels, the first ladder match would be up there for sure for me. That's one of the all-time best.
That's another one. I remember him obviously when I was watching WWF at the time, as Razor Ramon. And then once he left, I didn't watch WCW, so I don't know of anything he did after that until he came back into WWE for that short run when they brought that whole invasion angle and NWO showed up in WWE.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. But he would
imagine.
his just he like I remember I mean I would always like mimic his promos when I was like a kid, and like it would be hilarious because I would always like use a toothpick and like throw a toothpick at people, and people would be like, what the hell? Why would you throw a toothpick at me? And like you wouldn't get it. So but like no, I loved
You hung out with the
he
wrong people. I
was
definitely would have got it.
yeah no
I
he
would.
was just he was just great. He was just fantastic on the mic. Just really, probably, in my opinion, one of the most underrated like in ring workers of all time.
I just
He's
got to point out,
awesome.
because Joe said Bruce the Barber Beefcake and Jake the Snake Roberts were the best techs in the sport, hands down ever. I find that funny just because when Psycho and I were discussing, I was just giving examples of how we were going to do the Mount Rushmore. And I believe I said one of Jay's favorite was going to be Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
So
I will say in response to what Joe said, I understand why he says that, but I think for him to say the best techs in the sport hands down, like if you're gonna do that, you can't ignore Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect. Like you can't can't ignore him, right? Like you also wouldn't be able to ignore Kurt Angle, right? Like there are guys who
or Bret Hart.
Yeah,
like,
Bret Hart is
obvious ones. Yeah.
The guy who hung himself.
Yeah.
Do we not talk about him?
Which you talk about Benoit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The Canadian
Benoit too. So. But anyway, yeah, that's mine. So we can move on to Mr. Psycho.
Oh, man.
All right, so I guess mine's going to be super cliche because I don't have these niche wrestlers for my number one. My number one is absolutely Hulk Hogan, right?
But they weren't niche wrestlers.
No. But what I'm saying is, like what both of them said, you don't hear people talk about how great Eddie Guerrero was as far as wrestling, right? And then you heard Jose say that Scott Hall doesn't get brought up enough. People don't credit his in-ring work, which was great, right? Like the two guys.
I'm surprised Jose didn't bring up some indie wrestler we've never heard of.
No, not in the top four.
The two guys that were mentioned before my pick, like they're great wrestlers, and both Little Haiti and some Cuban guy are correct when they said they don't get the recognition they deserve for the things that they should be recognized for. But for me, any Mount Rushmore for best wrestler or favorite wrestler has to start with Hulk Hogan.
And obviously, we're talking about in-ring personality and in business, not outside.
Yes. Yeah. Like I'm not talking about Terry Bollea. I'm talking about Hulk Hogan, right? And they're two different individuals. And so, for me, I remember as a kid the first time I saw Hulk Hogan, and from that moment, like when he came down and he started on the microphone and he was saying all this stuff, and then he went through his whole gimmick and tearing the shirt and doing the pose, and then he gets in the ring and nothing can hurt him. It was like I was hooked from that moment on, right? Hulk Hogan, without Hogan, in my opinion, there is no business anymore, at least not in the way that we know it now. He took all those fantastic in-ring workability skills and he added amazing promos, like getting the audience involved in a way that hadn't been done before. So, like, Hogan's definitely my number one.
Oh, you're number 4?
I thought we'd start with number one because you told Chase start with number one.
Oh, I'm just doing these like in no particular order.
There's really no particular order.
No particular order.
I'm doing no particular order.
Well, I mean, I'm saving my number one for number one, but yes. All right. No, Hogan was great. I remember as a kid, same thing. You're as a child, you're kind of drawn to the charisma Hogan had, right? And the larger than life, taking on the bad guys and always winning, and yeah, I get that. So I've been thinking about mine, and I was like, man, like I was saying, like I don't watch a lot of WCW, but even like as a kid, I watched wrestling, but it wasn't like I don't remember a lot of it because I was a child. I know I went to events with my dad, and so to try and pick like my favorites, I remember as a kid who I really loved, but I don't remember why I liked them. I just know I liked them. It was probably because of their persona or whatever. But I'm gonna do one from. I'm taking only one from the '80s or early '90s era, and then I think everything else on my list is Attitude and Beyond. Because as an adult or as a young adult, the Attitude Era and beyond, I've watched wrestling with a different set of eyes versus what I watched as a kid. So I've learned to appreciate different things and like characters and gimmicks for different reasons. So that being said, my first one, which would be from the '80s, is gonna have to be Jake the Snake.
Jake Snake was good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love Jake the Snake. I mean, I loved a lot of wrestling. Like, and there's other ones I didn't pick just because they were part of tag teams, and I didn't want to split up a tag team for the audience, right? So like Legion of Doom, I'm not gonna split them up because I love the Legion of Doom. I had the spikes, like that. But Jake the Snake, and as a kid, the only reason I really liked Jake the Snake is for the obvious reason. Oh, he brought a badass snake
Damien.
to the
Yeah.
ring. Sometimes it was a python. There was once where it was an actual cobra. Like, but I remember as a kid, like I loved going to. We'd go to the wrestling events, and I'd sit there and I'd be waiting for Jake the Snake to come out, and I love Jake the Snake. I have no other reasoning beyond it, beyond that.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Jake the Snake, you know, obviously he had like the big gimmick of like bringing out the snake, and like that's why a lot of kids loved him. But even going back and like watch, I mean, he was just so good on the mic that even wrestlers to this day like still try to copy what he did. But like there could only ever be like one Jake Roberts. Like his, if you go back and watch his promos, you're like all of them. Like he never had like a bad promo. Like
But it's
they
crazy.
were all captivating. He would have this ability of just like just every emotion that you needed to feel, like he would make you feel it. And it's like every emotion. He was never talking like a lot of, especially during the '80s, like a lot of promos were like meant to like be at the opponents. He was always talking to the audience like every single time. Like he was like capturing your emotions and like making you either really for most of the time is really hate him, but
In
you know even later on it was like him.
I'm assuming to like what Joe said earlier about Jake the Snake being one of the one of the best in the business, whatever.
Yeah.
I got him as Joe's exact quote. Oh, one of the best Texans in the sport. When you watch back, I've watched some of the old matches more recently as an adult. Like his finisher was just a DDT.
Yep.
Yeah.
But some reason though, when you watch him do that DDT, maybe because you know it's his finisher, it just hits differently than when everybody else does a DDT.
It's the way he did it too. Like
Yeah.
if he hit you, that DDT looked like he like literally is like sticking your head into the ground,
like
and
literally,
like you are
can
knocked
have
out.
him give a DDT and damn near kill somebody. Then you have like
Yeah.
Gilbert give the exact same DDT and
Yeah.
you just walk away like that's nothing.
No, it
Did
was,
you ever
DDT just sold it so well.
Did you ever hear Jake the Snake when he talked about having the Cobra bite Randy Savage, like the conversation with Randy
I've heard
Savage?
stories, yes.
Yeah,
Like,
I watched the
Randy
interview
Savage
recently.
made him bite him first to
Yep.
show he
Yeah.
had no fangs.
yeah.
Well, to show that it had no venom. Like he knew he was going to get bit, but that it had no venom.
Well, no, they
Oh.
have venom. They defanged it, so he can't inject the venom. He was defanged, but
And then he made Jake sit there for an hour and a half while he sat in the chair across from him, watching him. How you feeling? You okay? Can you stand up?
Yeah.
Move your leg.
Yeah.
And after an hour and a half, he's all, well, I guess it's gonna be fine. He just got up and left.
It's ridiculous, man.
Fucking so stupid. They'll do that to you.
I don't particularly blame him, if we're being honest. It's a Cobra. I mean,
No, I get it.
come on now.
I would have been like, yo, defanged or not. That's not happening, son. I'll take a python bite, sure. I'm not taking the Cobra.
Fucking Cobra.
Because what if one of those fangs started growing back? Like, no.
There you go.
So who do you got next on your list there, little Haiti?
And to capitalize a little bit off of what Jose said about Scott Hall's influence in the NWO, again, that's where I got started was WCW, and my favorite coming out of that whole thing, one of the first guys I really tuned into was Sting.
I'm learning a lot about Che today.
Gotta say, I didn't call that one. I called WCW guys, but I didn't call that one.
You know what?
Yeah.
Just hold it, Che. I've learned a lot about you over the past month or so of me doing my own podcast. I've been learning a lot about somebody I've known for almost 20 years. Like, apparently you like horror movies, and Alien was your first. Like, this is insane. And now your list has completely thrown me off.
That's what I'm here for. Anyway. Yeah, Sting, because I got there right when NWO Hollywood was trying to convince Sting to join them over the Wolfpack. It was a fun journey. And then when Sting finally chose Wolfpack, like everybody else that followed WCW at the time, I was like, fuck yes. It was good times. It was good times. He did some good in-ring work, but at the same time, it was just his character was, man, like this intimidating presence that had Hogan running for the hills and Scott Hall running for the hills. They didn't want to face him alone. They're throwing their henchmen at him literally and trying to get away up the ramp. It was fun watching that character. And when he didn't come over in the invasion angle, I was like, damn it, I get it, but damn it. And
you're
a little bit with TNA and AEW, but there's almost nothing that could top that little NWO run.
okay.
For me, getting into wrestling was watching Sting be this badass in that moment.
Huh. That is interesting. I mean, it makes sense because like I said, I didn't watch WCW, but I obviously knew Sting from the '80s with WWE. But then that persona of the Crow, right? That look, even as a WWE fan, you still saw fucking the Crow, Sting, kicking ass everywhere, and you
coming down from the rafters, pulling out a baseball bat, Hogan running for his life. It was great times.
Yeah, then you sit there, and I had friends who were WCW fans, and then like everybody always wanted to watch or eventually see, like the Austin versus Goldberg, like Steve just mentioned Goldberg, but I always wanted to see the Austin versus Sting because
that would have been something special.
Because everybody like loved Sting. Everybody wanted Austin Goldberg because they were like the same person, the same look, right? Yeah. But Sting, I felt like was at that time especially was WCW's Austin and the personality, not even personality, but like the attention he was getting and the way they were using him. It was like the rebel.
It was like the number one. He was like the number one face in the company.
Well, that, but also like the rebel badass who just kind of goes against everybody.
Yeah.
Like that was very much like Austin. So I always wanted to see that because I had friends like, oh, Sting this, like, no, you Austin will kick that ass.
Yeah, Sting was also like anti-authority. It was just like where Austin was more like the everyman. Sting was more like kind of like the superhero type vigilante.
Yeah. My favorite Sting moment is that Sprite commercial where he beats the crap out of that little kid.
Yes. Like he throws him along the fireplace.
Like it's so unexpected. The kid drinks the soda and Sting starts beating his ass.
That kid's probably the most powerful kid.
It's always funny when like WWE or wrestling stars go outside and do something like that, and they just like pummel a child. It's always hilarious. So I feel like I imagine he's not on anybody's list, or he might be, but I don't think he's on anybody's list. But there is a wrestler who's also a rapper who has his own album, and maybe he's on somebody's list. I think I see his shirt actually, but there's a video he did for his song, and like he's walking down the street rapping. He picks up a child and like throws him to the side, He then grabs another person, like F5s him into a fucking dumpster, like, while he's rapping.
That's great.
But
That did happen. That was a thing.
Sting beat the hell out of that kid, man.
It's a great commercial. Great commercial.
All right, Cuban guy.
I still drink
guy.
Sprite to this day.
Speaking of commercials, my next pick is probably famous is very famous for commercials in his particularly saying, "Oh yeah," a lot.
Yeah.
So mine of course is Macho Man Randy Savage. Man, like I think in terms of charisma, I think you can count on one hand people that were like in all of wrestling history that are on the same level as like Macho Man Randy Savage. I think he had that ability to like just engross people in his promos. He had this very unique like intensity on the promos. He had he was just like unique. He was a character. And like in terms of characters, like I don't think there is a character that was quite as like big as Macho Man. Just look, all of his outfits, the hats, the glasses, the streamers on his arm, like everything. It was just all like just one big package of like this incredible star. And that's not even like to mention like how good he was in the ring, because people still think that his match against like Ricky Steamboat is like one of the all-time great matches. Even if you watch that match even today, even close to 40 years later, it still holds up as an incredible match. And people still study that match to this day in terms of like how to do in-ring psychology, just everything about it, man. Like he was just like the total package of a wrestler, of like what I think a wrestler should be in terms of charisma, in terms of like promo work, in terms of like in-ring. He was just everything. And like even when he went to like WCW and did like the whole NWO stuff, granted, like it wasn't like quite, in my opinion, like it wasn't quite as like the level that he was in like WWF at the time or WWE, but he was still good. Like the stuff that he did with Hogan, he was part of that. He was part of that Bash at the Beach match. So,
but I started wondering, and I have a feeling this works, or doesn't work. But it's like not. It's a situation with a lot of the wrestlers in the '80s, is that you have somebody like Macho Man, but I always wonder if he wasn't surrounded by the other talent, his competition at the time. So the Hogans, the Warriors, that were also these larger than life things. If he wouldn't have pushed himself to be that big, you know what I mean?
Because at that time, like he was like a smaller guy in comparison to like the Andre the Giants and like.
Well, no. I mean just like his charisma. That fucking psycho. I just came off a line of coke. Let's fucking go. Like
no, I think his charisma like stood up. I think in terms of what held him back, I think it was his size.
No, but I'm saying, but if there wasn't an Ultimate Warrior, if there wasn't a Hulk Hogan, if there wasn't these other larger than life personalities who were going over the top, would Randy have gone as far over the top as he was known to go? I think a lot of these guys fed off each other to keep trying to one up each other.
Oh yeah,
which made them so amazing because they're just like, you'll have to go outdo this. And holy shit, this guy runs around, says he's from like parts unknown and speaks mumbles. If I have to go beat this guy somehow, and he just comes out with a Randy Savage promo, and you're like, what the fuck did I just listen to?
Point of order, or point of fact, it wasn't Coke, it was coffee creamer.
Yeah, cream always rises to the top.
Right to the top.
Oh man,
that was his diet. Just consisted of coffee creamer and Slim Jims. That's it.
Yes, exactly, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Little known fact. All right. I think Psycho is next.
Go ahead, Psycho.
Again, I'm not going to pick it. I'm not reinventing with my list. Next for me is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
So Now, see, in this point right here is where John needs to shut the fuck up, and we just go on to somebody else. So,
Yeah, I don't think any of us are gonna argue with Stone Cold. Like
Yep.
that's
No, I mean,
he's the man.
Stone
He's the
Cold
man.
Stone Cold was great.
we're
I
gonna
mean-
hold off on the coldness. Hold off on the coldness. So, then I guess my second one would be he
Great
branches
call.
over into 80s, 90s, 2000s, 10s, even the 20s, would be Undertaker. Now, I don't know if he's on anybody else's list.
He's on my list, yeah.
All right, then we can hold off until you're ready to name him. But
Yep.
take it. Okay. So then, Jay, go ahead. You're off.
Man, that got back to me real fast. All right, good times.
Told you I feel like all this doesn't have a lot of common.
we do have a lot in common on those. All of us, a lot of us do. Again, Rushmore is very difficult because there's just so much talent that comes out of the Attitude Era and everything. But man, since I have a pretty good idea that my comrades here are gonna hit some other people, I have to give props to Booker T.
There we go.
Booker T.
Well, first of all,
Or
that was gonna be your first pick.
Pete Booker. One or the other. All of them, man. He had some WCW work. I watched it. It was cool, but he got to WWE, and I was just like, I got to learn to spin a Rooney. And then
So
just
we'd like to interrupt this program and Che, go do the Spinneroonie right now.
all right, cool.
See it live on the air.
I'm too
Like,
old for
we just
that.
hear things
Take a
breaking in the
stab.
background.
Sorry guys, I can't get up.
And all the things breaking would be Che.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. But yeah, mic work, ring work. The way he could. It used to piss me off having him as a heel because I'm like, man, look, come on, man. What? Yep. Now I got to root against you. He was so
He's
good.
always been a heel. He
Was so
Hogan
good as
back
the
first.
heel. There were those moments where, like working with Goldust, where just like, all right, how am I supposed to boo this? Like the whole lightsaber thing, I was on the floor laughing. And as a Star Wars purist, it should have pissed me off, but I was on the floor laughing.
Did Goldust
Booker
do the
T.
Spinneroonie?
Say what?
I feel like Goldust did the Spinneroonie.
Several people attempted to spin a Rooney, yes. Booker T, yeah, that's my guy. And yes, full disclosure, part of it was because, hey. So,
Listen.
Jose, who's your next guy?
I wish we have one viewer that comes in all the time. His name's Tim. I wish he was here right now because he'd be very happy with the representation. And he probably.
I want to know where Tony is. Tony said he'd be in the chat.
You know,
I haven't seen him put anything in there.
he's probably a few back. Drinking something, relaxing, chilling. Probably acting like Will Smith, acting all cool, shooting some b-ball outside of the school or something. I don't know.
Oh man. All right. So yeah, Chris already said one of mine. I don't know, Chris. You want to talk about him? Let's talk about Taker.
Unless he's on anybody else.
Is he on anybody else's?
Let's go for it.
Anybody else got Taker? So yeah, Taker. I mean, it's probably gonna mirror a lot of what Chris is gonna say too. But I mean, I think the greatest character of all time is Undertaker. I don't think there's any dispute on that. Like, just in terms of like the ability to transcend multiple different eras, constantly like change a character but still keep it interesting. He's just captivating. Like anytime you saw him, he was just great, very underrated in-ring worker. Definitely one of the best big men of all time for sure. Yeah, it's there's everything. Everybody's already said everything about. He's just a legend. Like he's one of the all-time greats, I think, for sure.
So
Like even if he's not in your Mount Rushmore, he's definitely like probably in your top 10. So
did you
in
bring
most
enough
people's.
for the
Like
rest
there's
of the
favorites
class?
and there's guys that you acknowledge are the cornerstones of the industry. And
Yeah.
Taker's one of those guys.
Yeah.
So my thing with Taker was that of all the wrestlers, I feel like he was the one that I could look at and I believe his character 100%, no matter which version of his character it was.
Even if the shit he was doing is batshit crazy, like shooting lightning out of his hands, you're like, he's doing that shit for real. That's
Oh yeah,
actually
yeah, no,
happening.
that wasn't CGI. That was 100% Taker.
He set Kane on fire. That was real.
But it's like you sit there and you see a lot of when you've been watching for a long time, you see a lot of wrestlers they come out as one character, and then they change gimmicks, they change names, and they come as somebody else.
Yeah.
We all know like the Husky Harrises of the world, right? So Taker though, he was he had a name originally, but ever since he was in the WWE, he was the Undertaker. But his gimmick changed several times, like different renditions of the Undertaker. But
Yeah.
even when he was like the American Badass, he had nothing to do with being an Undertaker like he was supposed to be with the tombstones and shit. You still knew it was the Undertaker. Like, he still sold that same character the entire time, even though he was different.
He was still called the Dead Man. Like it was,
like
I mean,
it's like you never like, oh, this is just a different character. Like, no, he's still the Undertaker. Yeah, he's riding a motorcycle now. He's got a ponytail, but he will still grab the urn. He still buries people. He's still a goddamn Undertaker. Like that character, no matter what his gimmick look was or what he was doing at that time, that character still like just fed through him. Like he sold that character so well that no matter what he looked like, you still knew it was the goddamn Undertaker. And you had nothing but respect for the man.
yeah, I mean, so he is not on my Mount Rushmore, and not because he's not deserving, but just because I have other people that I want to put ahead of him. But I will say, as Chase said, he's definitely a cornerstone of the industry. But I don't know that I believed all of his gimmicks, right? Like, it's fun to talk about the Undertaker, right? Like, my favorite thing with the Undertaker was in the video game where all of a sudden, like, the lights would go off and he'd be behind you, choke slamming you, like, and then we would start talking about, ooh, Darth Taker, right? Like,
because he would float.
Yeah, but it's like, I always enjoyed his character, but I never necessarily believed the character until he was the American Badass. And I think that came at the right moment because his character of the Undertaker, even though it had evolved, right? So it started off as like an Old West Undertaker, and then it kind of went to this it went into like less supernatural, and then it got more supernatural, and then you had the Ministry, and he was doing all sorts of crazy stuff like sacrificing Stephanie McMahon, right? But like,
when you sit there and you're like, oh, he was the Old West Undertaker, right? Like when he first came out.
yeah,
When you were a kid, you weren't like, oh, that's an Old West Undertaker. You didn't realize that he was an Old West Undertaker. He was just the Undertaker. Right?
Yeah.
Like when I look at when you look at him compared to not all, but majority of the 80s.
yeah,
In those very cartoony, very colorful, just crazy, nonsensical characters. Like, oh, it's a plumber. Like, you had these weird fucking characters. But then you had Undertaker. And he was dark. He stood out. And like I said, for me, he was the only one that you like really like. That guy's a real badass. That like, I think he owns a more. Like and part of that is also you can't give part of that success of what he did back then, and through most of his career without also praising Paul Bearer.
yeah,
Right? Because Paul Bearer was a huge part of selling who the Undertaker was.
yeah.
The
Joe
uniqueness
did,
of Undertaker.
and
was
Joe
very
said
big.
that. I mean, for me, I respect the Undertaker. I like him, but I did not really become a fan of the Undertaker until the American Badass. I thought that gimmick was perfect. Comes out on a motorcycle, doesn't give a shit, right? Like, this is my yard. I'm going to do what I want to do, and that's just kind of it. And I thought that version of the character was a breath of fresh air, because I honestly think, and the Undertaker said this in many interviews and podcasts as well, that if he had continued with the dead man gimmick and had not switched to the American Badass, that people would have gotten tired of him and he wouldn't have been able to last as long as he did. Being able to make that shift, right, was a revitalization, and that's what I really got an appreciation for the character of the Undertaker.
You know, that shift was needed and it was perfect for him. But like I said, even then, when he made that shift, it wasn't like, oh, I have to forget who he was before. Like, he still sold who he was before. Like,
Yeah.
his personality, the man didn't change. Like, yo, I just like to ride motorcycles now. This is where
Yeah.
Austin's running around drinking beer, throwing birds. I'm gonna fucking ride a motorcycle and be a biker because that's what I fucking do.
Even towards the end of his career, where he was still like doing like kind of a mixture of like the two old gimmicks, what really like made him interesting was actually the mystique that he had around the streak. Like, that's where really what made him interesting, and that's where you see like a lot of his like best matches. Like,
Yeah.
you see like him against Mike, him against HBK 1 and 2, him against Triple H 1 and 2. Like, all of those matches were like incredible. And granted, he was like over 40 years old. He was like 40, 44, 45 for like a lot of those matches, like
Man, where
and
have I
up.
been in my life?
So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's crazy how he still maintained the gimmick, but really like what made him so popular, like during like the more modern era, I guess, is the streak. Like, that's what made him like really interesting. That's why so many people were mad when Brock Lesnar broke it, because not because nobody believed that Brock Lesnar could do it, but people thought that it should be something special that should be given to someone that was like up and coming.
It was supposed to, or I think Undertaker said he wanted it to be Bray Wyatt. There was talks about
Probably.
being Bray Wyatt. He wanted to be Bray Wyatt, but
Yeah,
whatever happened,
probably.
they went that way with Brock Lesnar
It
instead.
was definitely like a Vince decision more than likely. So, like,
Before
I mean,
Heyman,
it had
apparently
to be.
Heyman and Taker were really good friends back in the day. Like,
Yeah, but even still, like at the end of the day, it was Vince's call no matter what.
should have been
So.
goddamn Bray Wyatt. That'd been great.
It should have been. I mean, I don't know, man. I was never a fan of like Brock Lesnar breaking the streak. I get why they did it, but I think it was too early, because he still went on to do like 4 more WrestleManias after that, and then like I just think it should have got, like, Brock Lesnar didn't need it. Like, he'd already like destroyed John Cena like the SummerSlam before,
Yeah.
who like this was like John Cena's prime. So it's like, why have him break the streak on top of it? It just didn't make any sense.
No, I agree.
Joe, I mean, we can't take anything away from Andre the Giant. He was
Andre
a legend.
the
We're
Giant.
doing
Okay,
our favorite
yeah.
wrestlers now.
I'll say this about Andre. Here's why we're not mentioning, because Andre is the mountain that Mount Rushmore is carved on. That's why. like we all know Andre is like incredible and probably one of the all-time best, but it's because like everyone stands on his shoulders.
So my
He
thing with
popularized
Andre,
wrestling. Yeah.
my thing, because since we're discussing, because Joe brought it up, my thing with Andre is that as WWE in wrestling, I don't know Andre from before WWE and who he was, right? So I didn't know any of that. So as a kid, he was just a big guy. I much knew him or preferred him or knew of him from Princess Bride, right? And that's where I knew Andre from and liked Andre. As
No
far
more
as,
runs now. I mean it.
but as far as in the ring,
Want to get it?
I did not give a crap about Andre at all. Like, he was big, but that was it. Like, he didn't do anything. Like, he did more than, like, in my mind back then, he did more than, say, like Great Khali does in a ring, right? He did more than that. But he wasn't like, from what I saw as a kid growing up, he did not sit with me.
Yeah,
So
he was definitely
and
before our
seeing
time.
the history of Andre, you learn to respect where he came from, what he did. That's a whole different.
Yeah,
deal.
it's the same thing with like Bruno Sammartino. Like, the way I like to do these Mount Rushmores is because like every generation is gonna have their own Mount Rushmore, right? For us, right, ours is more like wrestlers we grew up in the 80s, 90s, 2000s.
The golden era and the attitude era.
Yeah. So for me, for example, right, I already, like, I know Andre is one of the all-time greats. I know Bruno Sammartino is one of the all-time greats. So the way I like to look at it is, like, Andre the Giant is like the mountain the Mount Rushmore is carved on. Bruno's the one that chisels the faces. Like these are like the two staples that we know are like wrestling today during that era that we're talking about are like it wouldn't exist without those two figures.
Bro, all I just pictured was Andre the Giant standing there with his pants down, bent over, and Bruno
Jesus
just chiseling.
Why is
faces
that?
in his ass.
Why is that the image that comes in? That's so weird, Chris.
No idea, but that's what popped in my head. Thank you
No.
My man's be on another level sometimes, man.
because I saw it, y'all had to hear it. That's how this
No.
works.
No, man. Like I'm thinking of like his shoulders or something. Why
it's
would you
funnier
think
when-
that, bro? That's so weird, man.
So
Michael, what you got?
my third one is also not going to come as a surprise. My third one is The Rock. My third one, it has to be The Rock.
I purposely did not pick The Rock because I knew you would pick The Rock. So I
Yeah,
was like, I'm definitely not talking to Rock.
Same.
yeah. No, I mean,
Like, nope, John's got it. I'll get somebody else.
Look, Joe was
we
at
can hold
WrestleMania
off
1.
on talking about The Rock if you want, but like for me, The Rock has to be up there because I loved Hogan as a kid, and I really loved Stone Cold, but Stone Cold didn't fill the role the way that Hogan had. It was kind of a different thing, right? And then The Rock came in, and he was just so charismatic and so funny, and he just said shit that was infinitely quotable. And he was always having a good time. As a heel, you were laughing along with him. As a face, you were laughing along with him. And it was just the gimmick that they gave him, it just worked, right? Like there was just something about it, whether it be the stupid $500 shirts, right? The Lincoln Continental or the Navigator, or whatever the hell he drove, right? Like the town car, whatever it was, like he would show up and it was just, anytime The Rock hit the screen, it was electricity, right? You knew he was going to say something. You knew it was going to be damn funny, and you were waiting for it.
So, The Rock is one of those that when he joined, you saw him as Rocky Maivia.
Yep.
Was his first?
Yeah.
Yep.
You saw where that I can think of. It's the first one at least that I noticed where you see the growth of a wrestler.
Yeah.
To being the main guy versus the other people who came in already with a reputation, already with like some type of character background that people already kind of are attracted to. You watch The Rock go from nothing to essentially a god in wrestling, right? So I mean, it was definitely fun to watch.
And when when you say nothing, like he was close to being fired.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
no, he was nothing.
yeah,
But but also when you say like, oh, even when he was a heel, he was loved. He was loved as a heel later on. Right?
yes.
Because when
But
he was first a heel and he was like part of the nation, people did not like that man.
Not at first, but before that heel run was over, people were behind him.
Well, because he started growing into that character, he started to say the outlandish things that were.
And the people made him a face.
At first, they hated him. Like, yeah, he was like. I feel like the hate he had was almost like he might get fired for that hate. Like, it was bad. People hate him.
All right, we're at the player haters ball here. Hate.
So, I guess my third one. It was originally gonna be The Rock, but I was like, you know what? I know you're gonna say it, so I didn't do it. So my third would be Triple H.
That's a good
I
one.
can see that.
Yeah.
I fucking hate Triple H, but I can see that. Triple H the character, like Triple H the guy, I have no problems with. He's done great things for the company, but like the character, I fucking hate him. I have always hated him.
So, from my memory of it, Triple H, I was never a fan of like the few times that they really tried to push him as like a real baby face. I wasn't a fan of those moments, right? Because to me, Triple H isn't a baby face. He could be an anti-hero or a villain. That's Triple H. And he does those really well. I think the only person, especially recent, that I feel is a better heel, a serious heel than Triple H,
Yeah.
that people do love is Randy Orton. Randy Orton's an amazing heel who gets the crowd, eventually gets behind him, and they love him, and he's the anti-hero now, right?
Yeah.
But Triple H
Is an
the thing
asshole.
He did,
Man, the whole evolution storyline was still like, in my opinion, was like one of the best stories.
oh yeah, you had the evolution storyline, and then obviously before that, he had Degeneration X, 2 iterations of Degeneration X.
Yeah.
right?
You can't forget it. We can't forget about that. We wouldn't have DX without Triple H. So.
And that was my introduction when I started getting back into wrestling was just after the Monday Night Wars, like just after the whole tank at the fucking stadium for WCW and everything. So the Triple H I was introduced to was DX Prime Triple H, and amazing. As a teenage boy, that was the greatest thing to watch was DX and Raw, right?
Yeah.
So I loved Triple H, and just as it continued, then the inevitable heel turn, and it just after that I Psycho hated him. I was like, man, I don't fucking like that. Fuck, I didn't like him as the heel because I'm like I liked him as Degeneration X.
Yeah.
But then I realized that for me to not knowing that kids cover your ears, that this is fake.
No.
Scripted.
Knowing that, and knowing that
Scripted.
he's
Still real media.
knowing that his heel turn pissed me off that much, and I hated him that much, made me appreciate him and like him that much more. So like, you know what? He did his fucking job. Like he did what he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And then
One of the all-time best heels for sure.
Then we went to Evolution, and I was like, oh man, great. the fucking turn on Randy Orton, like, oh man.
Yeah, it was great.
And
then
then
the subsequent turn on
the resurgence of
Batista
DX with
yeah.
Shawn Michaels.
No,
It's so many great memories with Triple H. Like I can't not have him on my list.
Yeah, I have a ton of respect for Triple H, and again, I hated him
I know.
because he was so good at what he did.
So
But
good.
what's funny is like DX was supposed to be a heel faction, and everybody just got behind them because they loved him, right? Like
Yeah.
when they rolled up to the WCW arena on a tank and were like insulting the WCW
Dude.
wrestlers and trying to get them to come out. At that point,
Yes.
you couldn't
Bro,
not love them.
That episode, I was switching back and forth between Nitro and Raw so much because I'm like, what is gonna happen? Like, are they actually? And from what many wrestlers have said, like Scott Hall and Kevin Nash were trying to open it up.
Yeah.
They were like, because they were like, do it, because it's gonna like bring us like ton of ratings, and it's like, what are they gonna do?
Well,
So
because
it's
they
like,
knew about it.
yeah, and they were all pals. So it's
Yeah,
like,
they're all friends. They knew they were coming. Like they were aware, and they were like, yeah, open the gate.
Yeah.
And then whoever was like in charge.
Bischoff was like, no.
Bischoff was like,
That's
no. There was
not
like apparently
happening.
just one security officer that was like stopping them from doing it. So,
Yeah, no, one security officer is not stopping
Yeah.
those two. That came from upstairs. That one security officer is not legitimately stopping those two.
But like John said, like he was like DX was supposed to be
Unless it was the security officer we had at South Broward.
Yeah.
Can't catch me, boy.
I have a joke, but I'm not going to say it. So, because I really don't feel like getting canceled tonight. So, for Triple H, like they were supposed to be a heel faction, and the way their shenanigans made them over the top, right? And the suck-its and like, right? But Triple H, he just has that look. Even as a good guy or as an anti-hero, as whatever, he's got that look like he's a complete schmuck, right? He thinks his shit doesn't stink. He's better than everybody else because he is the game. But just as it continued growing, and then eventually when he shaved his damn head, and then like he had a different look and more pushing on the game aspect, like just so many different changes. And he's another one though to watch from where he came from as a French whatever the hell to now he's essentially running the show. Like to watch that growth is, I feel it's
And he still has that. Because NXT this past week, the homecoming episode, him and Sean are in the ring, and he's like, "I miss this place. What if I told you I wanted to come back?"
For one more
And
match.
he's staring at Shawn Michaels, and in that moment, part of my brain is like, "Kick him, Shawn, please."
Okay, okay, hold on. So earlier, before the cast, I'd mentioned that I felt Doink the Clown had been the most, the character portrayed by the most people,
Mhm.
right? That Shawn Michaels is possibly the person with the most backstabs. Like, I feel like if you ever are on a team with Shawn Michaels, you are going to have him turn his back on you and kick you in the face. Like,
I feel like Chris Jericho might have him beat actually. Chris Jericho might actually have more.
You better be careful because you're about to make the list.
Yeah.
it's like, I'm just thinking, like, going back to even like in the '80s with the Rockers and everything. Like, he turns on everybody he's friends with.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Well, now we're getting sidetracked though, because you're getting into like my Mount Rushmore, because I was going to mention him, but
All right, so go ahead.
But yeah, no, like Chris was saying, like, yeah, you just there's times where you just like, man, fuck that guy. When Triple H wants to be a heel, he didn't even say I'm going to take over. He said, "What if I told you I wanted to come back?" And I'm like, "No, Shawn, kill him."
He was such a Triple H was such a, I don't want to say loved heel, but people enjoyed him as a heel so much that he drugged, essentially raped, and married the owner's daughter, and people cheered for it. Like, forced marriage of an unconscious woman, and people were like, "Yeah!"
well, people cheered for it because everybody hated Vince at the time. Not because they loved Triple H, because they hated Vince so much.
Right, but he sold the hell out of it, and people fucking
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah.
Yes, this is our choice of entertainment.
All right, Che, what's your last one?
The last one was difficult. Well, it was difficult, but we just got a spoiler from Jose, and I think I know where John's going. So that opens up one of my honorable mentions, and I get to say, in all seriousness, Kofi Kingston.
I can see that.
Okay.
I was really hoping that you'd pick another one that John did not suggest. I was like, "Where fucking Chaley did one that John thought of," but no.
Oh man,
go off and say Kofi.
Man, look, man, I was happy for like 5 seconds when Kofi's vignette started playing. I'm like, "Oh, cool, Caribbean representation." I was happy for 5 seconds, and then I looked at the promo and I said, "I'm not even Jamaican. I'm starting to get pissed off."
Bro, that promo when Triple H calls him out for not being Jamaican.
Yeah.
But man, he worked with it, and his in-ring work, and he the ability to play the character, cool. And when his mom of all people blew it up, that was amazing. And then he just shifts into the Kofi Kingston. Well, the Kofi Kingston we currently have, and just the in-ring work, the amusement, the entertainment value for the last, man, it's been almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's still performing at a high level, doing almost the same things. That's
a workhorse for sure. Yeah.
I don't know. He's wearing a lot of tight black clothes lately. It's kind of weird. I don't know what's going on in that era.
They're heels. So.
Yeah, and I'm not. I mean,
New Day was originally heels, and they weren't wearing tight black, looking kind of weird.
Yeah. Well, they were looking kind of weird, but not for.
Yeah, they were
Like,
those
weird as Xavier, like Woods
wearing like a giant umbrella for a hat. Yeah.
Yeah, the New Day has been a very interesting part of Kofi's career. It's hard to take some of that stuff seriously, but at the same time, seeing just how much fun he still has, even with some of the nonsense that they give them to work with or that they choose to work with, maintains my respect for him. And man, I've very rarely been as annoyed at a storyline that I saw coming as I was with the whole Brock Lesnar ending Kofi Mania thing. That man,
Oh God, yeah, that was terrible.
yeah.
That was almost as bad as when Triple H beat Booker T too for the World Heavyweight title. Like, that was terrible.
So, Jay, is
Man.
there any other reason you picked Kofi Kingston?
See, well, he's what is it? He's huh. What's the word?
Do we have to?
Listen, we need representation on these. So
Yeah.
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 Y'all already know. Look, man, I'll put it like this. In all seriousness, WWE has been a fascinating form of entertainment, but as one of the forms of entertainment I consume, I like to see people that look like me.
Yeah,
and
100%.
Shout outs to Booker. Shout outs to Mark Henry. Man,
Farouk.
Teddy.
Yeah, Farouk.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Teddy. Farouk.
Teddy Long. Yeah.
Guys like that. It's always fun to see them get on there, do their thing, get their flowers.
So Psycho thought you were going to have Ron Simmons on your list.
I did.
Yeah.
I considered it.
I thought you were going to have Ron Killix.
I was very close to having Truth in there, but we can bring that up on the entertainment aspect a little later on.
Yeah, because I told Chris that I thought your four were going to be Booker T, and then Mark Henry, and then Kofi Kingston, or who was the other one I said? No, not R-Truth. It was Kofi Kingston or Shelton Benjamin. And then Chris is like, well, who's number 4? I'm like, Ron Simmons maybe. And Chris is like, why? And I'm like, he's the first black heavyweight champion of any major promotion. Like, and he was good. His character was good.
That is true.
So that's who I thought your 4 were going to be. So I wasn't right, but I got some hits.
I don't think Che would ever pick Ron Simmons because he's a Seminole. So I don't think that would ever happen.
Like, the only time I ever heard Che ever mention Ron Simmons was the whole.
All I can say to that is, damn.
Exactly.
All right.
What you got, Cuban?
All right. So my fourth, spoiled a little bit, just a little bit ago, but my number 4 for me is Shawn Michaels for sure. Just one of the all-time best performers, hands down. One of the best. Yeah, one of the best athletes. Other part of DX. DX wouldn't have happened without Triple H or Shawn and Chyna. But he just has done so much for the business. Some of the best matches of all time between him and Taker, him and Triple H. The triple threat match from WrestleMania between him, Triple H, and Chris Benoit is still like one of my all-time favorite matches.
Now, would it be safe to say that his best performances and matches came later in life when he actually started putting the company first versus the selfishness of his past?
I mean, you could make that argument, but even in the 90s, I mean, he had incredible matches with Razor Ramon, with Bret Hart, with Stone Cold. Like, those matches were really good.
I think if we're being fair, and again, it's your call, but I mean, I think the only good match he had with Razor Ramon was the ladder match.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
But I mean, that's just one, right? Like that,
right.
And it was the gimmick. It was the very first ladder match, and we look back at it, it's good, but like there's rose-tinted glasses there, in my opinion.
I don't think so. I mean, look at Bad Blood '97. That's one of the best matches of all time too.
I think Che froze.
No, he's there.
Maybe not.
But then,
I think if you go back and watch those matches, they're still incredible.
Anybody that worked with Bret Hart looked good, right? Like, so I kind of agree with what Chris said. A lot of my
I don't know about anybody.
Because he was notorious for being selfish, right? And
Yes.
very self
Yeah.
with himself. But
Yeah.
then as he got older, he got off of
With certain
his
guys, sure.
addictions, I assume. And then he became about the business. And I feel like once a wrestler's about the business and not themselves, is when you kind of get the best out of that character.
Well, until he went against Hulk Hogan, and then that happened. So where he's bouncing off the ropes. So, other than that,
Hogan's
yes,
never been selfish. So that's the difference.
I think that was the whole point. Is that he was like overselling.
You told me to sell.
He was like
You told
overselling
me to
Hogan
sell.
because of that reason, because Hogan was like being selfish.
Yeah.
So.
All right, I think my last one is where I'm actually going to shock you guys, because I don't think any of you.
Rock, so.
I don't think that any of you would guess this. And I went back and forth for a long time thinking about this since we first brought up the topic, and I actually just kind of settled on it right now. So I'm going to give you my runner-up as the fourth one, and then I'm going to give you my actual fourth one. My runner-up, and it was very, very close. AJ Styles. My runner-up, AJ Styles, right? Like, and saying that now that he's the runner-up makes me want to actually put him as the fourth choice because that's how close it was. But man, I have loved AJ Styles' work. I liked it when he was in WCW for a cup of coffee, and then whenever I saw anything from TNA, it was usually Kurt Angle versus AJ Styles in clips on YouTube, right? And so I thought, I'm like, you know how good Kurt Angle is, but to see this guy holding his own with Kurt Angle, I thought was amazing. And then when he came to WWE, it was just like he absolutely was the best wrestler on the roster when he showed up, and it wasn't even close. Shawn Michaels was gone. Like, I really believe you could put AJ Styles with anybody, and they will look amazing. But that being said, he is my runner-up, and my actual fourth choice is probably Roman Reigns. And it's for his entire body of work, showing up as part of the Shield and just essentially being the muscle of the Shield. Like Seth Rollins was the brain of the Shield, Dean Ambrose was the loose cannon of the Shield, and Roman Reigns was the muscle of the Shield. And like, it was entertaining to watch. And then you could see sparks of what he could become when he first was out on his own. And even though Vince was pushing him a little too hard, it's like, there's definitely something here. And when he became the tribal chief, it was just, I think it was the most recent breakthrough in wrestling.
Yeah, once they paired him with Heyman,
yeah.
They allowed him
that was
to
like
really flourish and become his own.
Yeah, that was like lightning in a bottle when they combined these two.
And I think that
you're working with somebody who's essentially a god on the mic, like Heyman, you can't help but take notes and learn. If you don't learn from that, you just wasted an opportunity of a lifetime.
Yeah. And it was just, he was so good as the tribal chief, and it was so organic, and it was so believable. And even when he was a heel, he wasn't playing a heel. He was just himself. He was gonna do shitty things, and then he was gonna do things that weren't so shitty. Right? He was just reacting the way he wanted to react. And I guess I like characters that seem more organic, like Stone Cold, like The Rock, Roman Reigns. Like, it's like, I would believe this is how this person is in real life. But yeah, that's my last one. And I guess it's interchangeable, Roman Reigns or AJ Styles.
Yeah, definitely didn't have you going Roman Reigns on that spot. That was an authentic surprise.
Well, so I didn't take in the idea that we were doing the runner-ups, which
he
set up because we did that on the horror podcast. I didn't think of this one. If I had to have picked the runner-up, it would have been Reigns as well. So I get it. I really enjoyed what Reigns did.
Yep.
Runner-up, Angle.
Yeah, Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
Runner-up.
For me, runner-up would have been CM Punk, for sure.
So, my number one. Anybody got beer?
Beer.
Give me some beers.
Yeah, no, my last one is Stone Cold Steve Austin. I feel, I mean, maybe people will disagree, but I feel that there hasn't been anybody who has pushed the WWE or just wrestling in general, has done so much for like the company as much as Austin has done in his short amount of time that he was there. When you really look at how long he was Stone Cold Steve Austin, it was what, like 5 years, 6 years before he got
From
hurt?
like 96 to like probably 2001 while he was wrestling, yeah.
Yeah, then he got hurt, and then that was kind of it, right?
Yeah.
But he was like, you had The Rock, but then you had Austin was like levels above The Rock in popularity and what they did, and they both acknowledge it, right? That Austin was just the #1 guy, and he did so much for wrestling. It brought so many new fans to wrestling because of who he was and what he was doing. Then when they get there, they're like, "Oh, this is amazing! Oh shit! Now look at DX. Now look at The Right. You brought all these like people who wrestled alongside that era made so much goddamn money because of Stone Cold Steve Austin."
Yeah. Even
Like-
even today, 20 years later, people still chant what?
And he's one, and maybe it's a product of the era, right? Because when you look at wrestlers from the '80s, and you look at them now, they're in their 60s and 70s. It's like, okay, you guys aren't who you used to be. It just is what it is. He's gone. He's like, fuck this, I'm out. So, but when it comes to Austin, and even The Rock, Triple H, a lot of these guys from that Attitude Era, when you see them to this day, you're like, no, you're still like, you still have that persona. You still have that look. My damn dog is barking for some dumb reason, but you still like, you see Austin, like you're still Stone Cold Steve Austin. You're still gonna stun somebody. You're gonna drink a beer and then stun them again. Like you still think Triple H is gonna pedigree the shit out of somebody. You still think The Rock is gonna verbally abuse you until you want to cry, then laugh at you, right? Like even Undertaker, just because of how big and monstrous he is in general, he still looks like he could beat that ass.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
these guys, but Austin, man, we know his previous characters he had, Stunning Steve Austin and all that shit, right? But once he became Stone Cold Steve Austin, like that was the
game changed. Right.
Yeah,
like at that point.
that's where they went to that whole, oh, let's do these real characters versus having the gimmicks. Like let's give them real personality. That this is the everydays man, and it was just such a turn that I believe, I think I've seen the things on it. Maybe I'm going crazy, but he essentially saved WWF.
Yeah. Yeah.
From losing the potential war against WCW.
Yeah, it was two things, really, in my opinion. Like, it was the Montreal Screwjob creating like the most hated villain in the history of the wrestling industry, which is Mr. McMahon, right?
Right.
And then Bret Hart also launched essentially the baddest motherfucker on the planet persona of Stone Cold Steve Austin when he didn't tap to the sharpshooter. Everybody tapped the sharpshooter. Stone Cold refused to tap, passed out in a puddle of his own blood, and that's, in my opinion, that's the moment that started the Attitude Era. But it was also the moment that like made Stone Cold Stone Cold.
So the only other the other thing that really I think set his character for the relentless badass of the Attitude Era, right?
Yeah.
The thing that, and I know people have started lately giving him credit where the credit's due, but we would not have Stone Cold Steve Austin without Jake the Snake.
Yeah.
Like if Jake the Snake hadn't been on his religious character gimmick and all that, we would have never gotten the Austin 316 says I just whooped your ass. And like that's where it fucking like, oh, things have changed. Like,
yeah, I mean,
we're gone.
I love Stone Cold because he wasn't, like you said, it wasn't a gimmick, it wasn't a character. He wasn't a heel, he wasn't a face. Stone Cold, like you knew when he came out there, someone was going to get their ass whipped, right? Like it didn't matter.
He's literally Venom. Like
it's like
he is Venom.
Face, heel, boss, it doesn't matter. If you're out in the ring when Stone Cold comes out, you're getting a stunner. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no. You could be a 90-year-old woman. You can catch a stunner.
You could be Linda McMahon and catch a stunner.
Yep.
He stunned the president. Like he's stunned. He's stunned a lot of people. It doesn't matter. Like, well, yeah, I feel that his contribution to just the world of, or if they say to the business, is more than anybody else has done. Like when you compare it to the amount of time that he was actually active in the ring,
Yeah.
it's he just without him, we would be in a whole different world of wrestling right now.
Like the thing is, we watched the Attitude Era, and it's currently 2025, and people in our demographic and age group can still go on YouTube and type in like any one of several Stone Cold moments where something's going on and then that glass breaks and you still get goosebumps.
The pop is crazy. Even today, when the glass shatters, the pop is crazy.
Okay, so here's an example, right? You have we all seen when there's like 15 people in the ring beating the hell out of everybody. And you know, like, all right, if The Rock comes running out, he's gonna do a couple Rock things, but then he's gonna get his ass beat. Even if the Undertaker comes out, Undertaker's gonna come out, he's gonna choke slam a few people, but he's gonna get overpowered by 15 guys, right? But Austin comes running out. You know you're about to see 15, possibly 20 stunners. That's what you're gonna see. He's gonna come out and he's going to stun everybody.
Yeah.
He's gonna be like, "Hey, I ran out of people to stun. Announcer, you're getting a stunner. Oh look, kid in the front row, you catch a stunner." Like, and people accept
Somebody who already got a stunner, you're getting another one.
Oh, so a few people got stunners and like hit the ground and popped back up and on their feet and caught another stunner. Like,
Yeah. I mean, and one of the great things about Stone Cold is when these guys would do run-ins, they'd always like turn the guy around, start fighting him and punching him and like locking up. Stone Cold wasn't doing any of that. There was no build-up to the stunner. He just showed up, spin the guy around, give him a stunner. Like there was no, oh, let me charge it up. It's just he had a stunner for everybody. He had an unlimited supply of stunners.
it was literally the original RKO out of nowhere, right? Like you can just catch a stunner at any moment.
Man.
But then with Austin, he has that respect and persona of he's just, you know, the drunk redneck who gets belligerent. But to the point that even to this day, he drives that four-wheeler, hits a barricade, almost kills a woman, and nobody gives a shit. They're like, oh, that's just Austin. Like everybody played it off and almost started to say, you shouldn't have been there. Why were you standing there? It's your fault for being there when Austin's driving his four-wheeler. You like we're accepting of it. And the only other thing, well, not the only, there's a lot of things, but one other that I wanted to touch on before we do get out of here when it comes to Austin is that he is the only wrestler to do the one thing that every wrestler should do.
Exactly. I know where you're going with this.
When you are a wrestler and you're in a match and you hit the referee and they get knocked the fuck out and you continue fighting and then you get your finishing move and you pin the fucker, all the wrestlers sit there and like try and pin him for 45 seconds while the referee just rolls around the ground like a turtle on its back. Austin is like, no. Give me that arm. Ba, ba, ba. The match is over.
Yep.
Nobody's done it since. It's one of those things that when you saw it the first time, you're like, that's fucking genius.
Why doesn't everybody do this? Yeah.
And nobody's done it since.
You know what my favorite stunner is? The WrestleMania match between Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold when Shawn Michaels goes to give him the sweet chin music and Austin grabs his foot, spins him around, and hits him with a stunner. To this day, whenever I see that, I mark out. I love that stunner so much.
My favorite stunner is the one he did on Scott Hall. Where Scott Hall jumped like 10 feet in the air. That's still one of the all-time greats. It was after it was the second stunner, so it's like all Scott Hall did was like, okay, if he hits you with one stunner, he's fine. If he hits you with the second stunner, you're like getting launched into orbit. Like,
it's like obviously all that comes from the opponent selling it, right?
Yeah.
Because The Rock sells a stunner really well. The Rock
does.
flops.
Oh yeah. The Rock, I think, just generally was the best at selling the stunner.
But then, like, you got to the point where Booker T, because I remember when Booker T started really growing his dreads out, his hair out, he'd catch that stunner, it'd be like, like
Is it?
his head would explode.
Didn't Booker T get eliminated from a Royal Rumble just from getting hit with a stunner? Like he just gets hit with a
Possibly.
stunner and they were in the middle of the ring and he gets hit with a stunner and he just like wobbles over to the ropes and falls over the ropes.
And then some of the stunners that you always knew would lead. Well, first of all, like we said, when it's Austin, you know there's going to be a stunner. Like there was like one WrestleMania where Austin came out within the past like 5-6 years and he didn't stun anybody, and we were all pissed off that nobody caught a stunner. Like if Austin's there, you catch a stunner. But you also,
That was the one where he came out with The Rock and Hogan, and nobody. There was no stunner. They opened the show, and that was it.
It was fucking weird. But it's always one of those things. Like even if you're on a tag team with Austin and you win the match, you're gonna celebrate with beer.
And a stunner.
But as you drink that beer, you're catching a stunner. And I can't even say that, oh, he's up against Shawn Michaels for turning his back on people, because that's not him turning his back on you giving you a stunner. That's just a celebratory stunner. That's all that is. It's just, hey, we won. Here's
It's
a
just
stunner.
it's gotten to the point where that's just like his version of a handshake.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he's just giving a
People
stunner.
Be sitting there, a mouthful of beer, they catch that stunner. Like,
No, look at Pat McAfee. That's what happens to Pat McAfee every time.
like everybody pulls out their inner Triple H when they get stunned with beer in their mouth, and they fucking just shoot that shit everywhere.
You know who was really underrated at selling a stunner was Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon's like stunner styles were actually incredible if you go back and watch them.
All right, we're gonna try and cut this off at 10:30, but now we're going into the
The Mount Rushmore of stunner styles.
I can't think of any other wrestler who did like a gimmick spot that then inspired another wrestler to do the exact same gimmick spot and it be over just as much as the original.
Oh,
right?
I know what you're talking about. The I know what you're
So
talking
you have
about.
Stone Cold come out with the beer
The
truck.
beer truck, yeah, the beer truck.
He comes out all Austin, beer truck, sprays the shit out of Triple
Classic.
H and Stephanie with beer.
Vince,
right?
yeah.
No, it was Vince. It was Vince, The Rock,
And-
Undertaker. It was the corporate ministry.
Yeah.
Right. But
Yeah.
here he comes, beer truck, hops on, fire hose on a beer truck because all beer trucks need a fire hose, and fucking blasts them with beer, right? And people fucking loved it. It was amazing because it was Dan with the man, Austin, fuck yeah. Then what? Years later,
Yeah.
here comes fucking Kurt Angle with a milk truck. The exact same fucking thing.
Yeah. And it was on Stone Cold too. Like that was against Stone Cold.
But
That's
it was
what
just
made
as
that
good.
that's what made that segment so genius.
It's like when you watch a lot of them, when you've been watching wrestling enough, you're like, oh, well, I saw them do that years ago with so-and-so. It's like, all right, yeah, they just ripped that off. Like, no, they ripped that off, and you loved it just as much because it was such a good fucking spot the first time. It's a
The
great
image
spot
the
the
image of
second time.
Kurt Angle on top of that milk truck, like smashing the two milk bottles together and then just pouring milk all over his face.
Because, again,
Still one of the
a
all-time
milk
best
truck
moments.
Needs a fire hose.
You're
for
a damn
milk
lie
hose.
if you say you're a fan of Stone Cold and you didn't at some point do that with some beverages.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've done that.
Stone Cold got so many amazing spots. The filling the Corvette with concrete, dropping the steel beam on the DX Express.
Yep.
Right, like kidnapping members of DX, like hog tying them and stuff.
And
Stuff was so
in
great.
that same one, didn't he Triple H trap him in a room with a rattlesnake?
Yeah,
But it was such a bad shot that you could see the glass between Triple H and the rattlesnake. But
Yep.
Just ignore that because it's Austin.
so
Attempted
great,
murder.
man.
It's fine.
I mean, an underrated part of Stone Cold during that era, I will say, was the selling by JR.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
Austin,
No, I mean-
we need Austin now. We need Austin. Where's Austin?
Dude, the match.
God,
I mean,
it's
I
awesome.
still remember the match between like Triple H and The Rock, where Stone Cold came back and like JR was going nuts, and like the pop it was like Backlash 2000. I think it was Backlash 2000 actually, where like he came back and it was like a big surprise. So like basically like all of the corporation is beating up on The Rock, and like Jr. Like The Rock's getting hit with steel chairs, and like Pat Patterson and Briscoe come out in like referee shirts, and JR's like, oh man, this is like so stacked against The Rock. The Rock can't even get up, and then like as soon as he said that, you just hear the glass shatter, and then Stone Cold, and the place just listen to it.
It's one
It
of
is
the
one of the
greatest
it's
pops
one of
of
the
all
biggest
time.
pops of all time. It is incredible.
See,
Like, and then you hear just JR going, Austin, Austin, Austin. Like, it's amazing.
Obviously, JR sold Austin, right? The same way Paul Bearer sold Undertaker but he wasn't his manager.
Yeah.
But sometimes, man, the way JR sold was so over the top, and you think somebody died in that ring.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Anytime JR was like talking about Triple H, like you would have thought that he wanted Triple H like assassinated, like murdered.
But he
Like
comes
that
in,
son of a
Austin would
bitch.
attack, and the way JR would freak out when Austin would attack people, you'd think that he just did. You'd think Austin committed murder. Like Austin went there and shanked the motherfucker. Like,
Yeah.
like we are witnessing a murder right now, audience. But enjoy it. Like,
That low down, dirty son of a bitch.
oh, well, yeah. I mean,
Ugh.
and like, and who else can sit there and not say that they did have and still have, daydreams about, attacking their boss and stunning their boss anytime they piss them off. Like, we have a disagreement, catch a stunner.
Yeah.
Make me work overtime, catch a
you have to
stunner.
make yourself. Oh no. Damn it.
And then, like, full disclosure, our friend group just like, randomly trying to stun one another for no reason, just like constantly on the lookout for stunners.
See,
Full
yeah,
disclosure: when WWE says "do not try this at home,"
They're not talking to me.
we ignore that.
Yeah,
We have ignored that in the past on many occasions.
Jesus.
But
They
man,
didn't
I know the clock is ticking, but I think we should all just try to get that one match in.
What match?
That one match, the favorite match.
Favorite match? Jesus Christ. All right, my favorite match is a you can pick which one, but it's gonna be a TLC Hardy's Edge, Christian and Dudley. Like, that's probably my favorite match. There's just so much fucking horrible shit that goes on in that match.
Oh man.
Chase trying to throw in a quick one-off. What you guys got?
My favorite match, Hogan versus Rock.
Good match.
Hogan versus Rock. The build-up was great. I know a lot of people thought that made the NWO look soft, but the match itself was amazing. I love.
Jose thinks Hogan was the underdog in that match.
Well, he was like at the beginning of the match. He was, yeah. But that was the whole thing about the match, is it ended up flipping.
I will say this, since I forgot to say it when Chris was talking about Stone Cold. It came to my mind and then I forgot. I loved how everybody in WWF, when NWO debuted there, was afraid of the NWO. And then Stone Cold goes walking through the hallway, and NWO is afraid of Stone Cold. And they're like, Austin, we got you this as a peace offering. They gave him beer, and he looked at it, and he took it, and he just threw it away and glared at them and walked away. Like, they're punking everybody out that they see. Stone Cold comes in the hallway, and they act like bitches. They're like, no, Steve, sorry.
What is that? Was that before or after? Man, a lot of it blurs together, right? I've seen the clip recently where Austin's somewhere, and like it must have been during the invasion, because people are getting fucked up all over the stadium. And Austin like comes in, like parks his truck, comes in through like the back, and just starts beating people from the very back of the fucking building, and makes his way to the ring. But everybody he passes that's not a WWF person got their ass beat by Austin.
That was during the invasion.
It
That
was
was
the
the
invasion.
beginning of the invasion. It was
Yeah.
before the debut of the NWO, but that was
He
like the
just
very
came out of
beginning
nowhere.
of the
Oh,
invasion.
I'm here. Oh,
All right.
death. Like,
My
kill
favorite.
people through it.
All right, so my favorite match was SummerSlam 2005. It's a classic bout between Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, with the custody of Dominic Mysterio. No, I'm just kidding. That's not my favorite. No, I'm kidding. No, my favorite. I was getting you guys going though. No, my
John's right. Jose is gonna pull some shit out of left.
No, my favorite match of all time was Money in the Bank 2011, CM Punk against John Cena. That match was awesome. The story of the match, the build-up of the match, the like, the cool thing I really liked about that match is that no one really knew what was gonna happen. Like, especially in an era where like most people can predict wrestling, I think that was a match that it was like really difficult to predict what was actually gonna happen, and then by the second part of the match, like towards the end, like everything just goes sideways. Like Vince comes out, tries screwing CM Punk, tries to bring like out Alberto Del Rio to cash in the Money in the Bank. Like it was crazy, and then just like the visual of like seeing, CM Punk leaving with the belt and like blowing Vince a kiss, and like Vince just standing there like, what just happened? Like it was just one of the best moments for me. That match itself was amazing too. So that's my all-time favorite.
I'll have to revisit because I don't remember that match.
Wow,
That was
yeah,
like during the time where I wasn't watching a lot, so I may have.
Yeah, it was in Chicago too. Like so, it was like home. Like
course it
CM
was.
Punk had a crazy hometown advantage. Like the crowd was going crazy when it came out. When it was awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say, same as John, it's The Rock Hogan. The crowd, the in match turns forced by the crowd, and the way they both went with it, the finish, everything, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful match.
Yep.
It was cathartic too, right? Like being the age that we were, and again, Hogan was my favorite wrestler as a kid, and then him leaving, and then having all those moments with Stone Cold and then The Rock, and then Hogan shows up as an asshole, and he like tries to kill The Rock, and
Like,
then
literally.
they have this match. Yeah, then they have this match, and in the match, like you see him being Hollywood Hogan, but then you see like elements of the original Hogan coming out, and then at the very end, instead of beating The Rock's ass, like he raises The Rock's hand, and there's respect there. It was like, wow, like it was almost full circle. It's like Hogan was this hero, and then he was this terrible villain, and then he comes back as just like this piece of shit, but now like he's Hogan again. There's just so much going on in that match.
Like up to that point, I'd never seen a crowd just go insane in a match like I did when Hogan kicked out and started hulking out after he kicked out.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
that was one. Like I thought my TV was
nuts.
shaking.
Yeah.
I thought my TV was shaking. It was so crazy.
It's one of those matches that, as you get older, and well, we were older at that point, but the more you learn about the company and the business, you appreciate a match like that even more, right?
Yeah.
It's like, even back then, I didn't look at matches for like the storytelling aspect of a match. I was like, oh, it's just an entertaining match. But then after listening to Austin's podcasts and stuff, and where he really started breaking down the theories and everything of wrestling and the stories and the importance of it, watching that match again after learning that aspect of it, it's a completely different match, and it's amazing. Like just the ups and downs, the whole roller coaster ride you go on with that match is so good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like one match I feel like also, like at least for me, that I was in like one of my all-time favorite matches that is kind of like in the same aspect as The Rock and Hogan is actually WrestleMania 6, Hogan against Ultimate Warrior. I think that match I feel like is really often overlooked because just the you had this up and comer in Ultimate Warrior who had basically kind of like a lot of the same audience as Hogan, and this was like Hogan also like in his prime, and it was like champion versus champion. So it was like a really big deal because you never saw that often in WWF at the time. So it was like this new up and comer, like supposedly who's gonna try to take like Hogan's spot as like the top baby face, and then Warrior ends up going over in like a crazy finish, where like Hogan kicks out, but like just like a split second too late. Like I always like, even though that's not like technically like amazing, but just like the story of that match, and I think that's kind of like a big part of matches that gets overlooked is like the backstory going into the match. And I think that one had such a good backstory, and the story of the match was really cool.
Knowing what we know about Hogan now, I think makes that even more impressive, right? Like, because Hogan was willing to put Warrior over.
Yeah.
While Hogan was still in what he considered his prime, right? Like, it was a really big deal. And then, of course, the Ultimate Warrior self-destructed.
Yeah, shortly after. But I'm like trying to take that out of the equation, but like, because I love the Ultimate Warrior. Like he's like one of my like probably top 10. But that match was, if you go back and watch it, it's really really cool. And the crowd was crazy for that match. Like, it was in the Sky Dome in Toronto, so there was like 90,000 people there. Like, it was huge.
So I think we gotta do this again, because there's a lot we haven't touched on, and we didn't even get to today's arena really.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we should reconvene again in the future. But I will say there's a match that,
oh god,
over the midst of casual watching, that when you watch it in a moment, you're just like, oh, this is cool. And then later on, the significance goes through the roof. And that's a match that I actually watched with a couple of you guys, actually. I think we were at Chris's house. It was Eddie's last match on SmackDown. Like, in the moment, you're just like, oh, cool. Eddie lied and cheating and steal, and he's smiling at the camera doing this while his opponent's just freaking. Who was it? Man. You know who I'm talking about.
Wasn't it at your house?
It was Ken Kennedy. And Eddie does the whole lie, cheat, steal thing, and he's on the mat, he's smiling, he does this, Kennedy's freaking out, Eddie's just smiling. The last minute or so that segment's on TV, Eddie's just smiling, looking at the crowd, having fun. And in the moment you're like, oh, this is cool. Then a couple days later, you're like, wow, I'm glad that was the last moment that we had with him.
That came out kind of weird.
Yeah, look, it's like, it could have been a championship match or whatever, but it's more so the fact that he went out, smiling and having a good time, that made me thankful to be able to just sit and watch that match. 'Cause it's one of those matches where you could have been like, I'm going to the bathroom, or I'm going to run to Taco Bell. It's one of those matches where that could have happened, but we sat there, we had a good time, we enjoyed it.
A lot.
And then we did roll Taco Bell a lot.
Cool.
Those were the days.
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap this up. It's 10:38. A little longer than I was expecting. But damn, I really appreciate you guys coming out. This was a lot of fun. It went a lot smoother than I anticipated. I expected a lot of issues from a certain member in this cast, and it was great.
Look, I do cosplay as an adult on Fridays. I work 15 hours, so I wasn't sure I was going to be able to make it. But hey, it was fun.
We appreciate you.
Well, that's awesome, man. Thank you, Psycho, for joining in.
Thanks for having me.
Cuban.
Of course, anytime.
We just called you Cuban. I feel like I'm going to get canceled just for that. Even
Get
though
canceled.
your name obviously says some Cuban guy, I feel like I'm just going to be like, ah. And then another one, Haiti. God damn it. We need to work on this shit.
Do we?
Hey.
Do we really?
No, we don't. Because I don't give a fuck. I really don't. But want to thank everybody for watching. I know we had a few people in the chat, got kind of quiet. We will be, I'll be doing Drinks and Toys Tuesday with Shellhead Tony. No idea what the topic's going to be, but we'll be there. And then we'll be doing a Collector's Hideout next week. I haven't decided on a topic yet, though, but we will be doing Collector's Hideout next week. And as far as guests, I have no idea who it's going to be because I don't even know what the topic is yet. And I try and bring the guests pertain to topic. That way, there's good conversation. Because like it would be weird to bring little Haiti into a topic about Ninja Turtle action figures. It'd be strange because he's not going to say anything. So I try and do my guests the same way for the cast. So
he doesn't know what a Ninja Turtle is.
Makes sense. I don't blame you. All right, you're pushing it. You're tripping now, man. You're tripping.
Talking out your side of your mouth with that one there. Well, thanks everybody for coming. You guys hang out while this all shuts down before it deletes everything. That would suck.
Don't you dare be sour. Hey, please don't sue us. We broke.